I believe AI will transform everything in the next decade. Is your data safe and secure? Is your data going to be leaked?
If you use AI well with all the data that you have accumulated over the years, you are creating something like a collective intelligence of the company. From the time it's been conceived.
So this heavy, which something that took 6 weeks was replaced by a single line of code. So there are huge advantages of being able to bring AI next to the data.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Our Own Devices. And again, we're going to talk this time too, maybe about AI, because that's the hot topic. That's what everybody wants to learn more about. And it is a field that's changing so fast that maybe there's something to learn every week. And to talk about this, we have somebody who knows a lot about it, and that is Baris Gultekin. He is with us from California, and he works for Snowflake, and he's in charge of everything AI at Snowflake, which is one of the biggest companies in this space. So, Barish, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Nandu. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Let's talk about the big picture a little bit. And everybody knows AI is moving so fast. It's learning, it's changing at a pace that we haven't seen before. So as of now, where do you think we are, and what are the new things that you're seeing?
So it's been just a fascinating journey over the last, especially a year and a half to 2 years. I'll just take a step back and then, talk about where AI was a couple of years ago versus where it is now. As a background, I used to work at Google, and Google Assistant was my product. So I was working on Google Assistant for a long time. And Google Assistant is, of course, AI based. However, at the time, everything was relatively well crafted, meaning it was very rule based. Still AI, but very manual. Fast forward to OpenAI's GPT-3.5 launch. Finally, we had this very open-ended conversation that you can have with a computer. And since then, it's gotten better and better and better. And we see every week there's a new model that comes out that pushes the envelope on what you can do with AI. So where we are now, right now, is we have these amazing models from the likes of OpenAI, open source models like Llama 3 from Meta, Facebook, that are able to understand human language, that allow you to communicate, that are trained on, lots and lots of data, right? The whole web and more, and books that are about able to reason and then help you generate content and generate text, generate images. So it's still very, very early, meaning like these are still making issues. Hallucinations are a big problem. However, we're now at a point where a human-like conversational experience is possible, and these systems are now being built such that companies and both for consumers as well as for businesses are using AI to have efficiencies, be a lot more increase productivity, as well as like, do many, many things, from helping someone to crafting emails to kind of reasoning, brainstorming, and many more.
I keep wondering if it's right to say you actually have a first mover advantage here, because we are seeing that maybe it's not really progressing the way we thought it would progress maybe a year back. Is that right?
First mover advantage as Snowflake, you mean?
No, across the world of artificial intelligence and with Gen AI, if you thought, okay, you're going to create a product, and I'm maybe trying to allude to the hardware products that's come out, they have not really had, have a good start, right? And is it because, you thought you're going to use it in a certain way, and in that product cycle itself, it's changed so much that people are maybe expecting different things now?
So I think it's, again, very, very early in the space. What's happening right now is every single business recognizes the huge set of products that can be built with AI. Any company I talk to has a spreadsheet that has hundreds of use cases. And these use cases are all about like things that you could not do before. And the most common ones are very chatbot oriented, things like helping with customer service or helping companies find information and then reason about that information. But there is a vast number of use cases that can be done. The first mover advantage that you're talking about, I think, is that because it's still super early,
Yeah.
many companies and also people who want to learn about it can jump into this train now. The
Mm.
train is moving very, very fast, but it has just left the station. So there's still a lot of opportunity. This is only going to grow, and it's going to be one of the most transformational technologies over the next decade.
Yeah. So this conversational AI part that you mentioned, I personally had a very interesting experience just yesterday, where somebody was complaining about a chatbot that we have on our app. And the expectation of the user is that it's going to respond to whatever he's going to ask it. When it's a rule-based chatbot, which is like 4 years old, it can only answer within like a certain parameter, right? But the expectation is already that, hey, I asked you a specific question, why can't you answer me? And he went and complained to everybody, made a noise of it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is exactly it's a very good example of how fast the world is changing.
Yeah.
Only a couple of years ago, we had these telephone systems where you had to press one to say something, and when you say it in one way, it doesn't work, and so forth. And now there was a demo. Well, there was a little app that was built for my son's class. He's in second grade,
Yeah.
and you can just call a number and then you could talk to this machine that can craft a new story with you. So it's just the world has changed so much, and it's super exciting to see it.
So, if you're talking about Snowflake, how do you think about AI, and how do you think about the future of how you're going to use AI in the context of your company?
Yeah, so let me maybe talk about what Snowflake does. Not everyone may know.
Yeah.
So Snowflake started about a decade ago as a data warehouse company, meaning as the world of data was growing and growing, there was a demand for being able to analyze the data fast in a way that is that scales. And since then, Snowflake has grown to the data cloud, which is being able to run analysis on your data, being able to share data across companies, intra-company. So it's all built on top of this premise that many customers are trusting Snowflake with their data, governing that data, and then running analysis on it. When AI emerges, what our customers want to do, of course, is to bring that compute, this ability to run analysis on that data with AI close to where their data is. Of course, AI is powered by data. Companies recognize that they can differentiate themselves with their own data by kind of merging with AI. So from Snowflake's perspective, when you can have a natural conversation, with the data that you have, when you're able to glean insights, when you're able to analyze your data with a lot, deeper introspection, like a human, like there is tremendous opportunity. Companies can get a lot more out of their data. Companies can do a lot more with their data. So we believe AI and data just go hand in hand together. And Snowflake is exactly at the center of all of this. That's why we're super excited to be the leaders in enterprise AI, bringing AI capabilities to customers where their data is. We've been hard at work building a platform to do exactly that. So now we have a model garden that has series of models that our customers can run. We have capabilities to do searches, and these AI systems really need high quality search to be able to do things like chatbots so that these chatbots don't hallucinate. We're also pioneering not just the typical here's a document, now glean insights from it, but also I have a set of structured data, like I have my metrics, and can I ask questions about those metrics? Show me what my revenue is, how my revenue is growing month over month, and things like that. So reasoning on structured data is a really important area for us, and we're also investing in that. But at a high level, what we're planning to do is build a series of products and tools, including our own foundation model, Architect, that we just recently launched, to allow our customers to nail enterprise AI, and do great at tasks that enterprises need.
If you're approaching a company, or you're trying to pitch to a company, or you start working with a company, you would see that the data approach is not something that's common, right? Like, everybody would have maybe their own way of having done the data, having stored the data. So how do you approach that problem? Because you don't have the same structure across structured data.
That's correct. So many companies are now recognizing that a huge part of the system that they need to build is these data pipelines. They need to, let's say that I had a customer who was using AWS's Bedrock service, which runs its own LLMs. So they built a data pipeline to take that data out, run these LLMs where in AWS, and then bring that results back into where their data is. And that was a very, very slow, cumbersome, and expensive process. When you run AI next to the data, all of that got replaced with a single line of code. So this heavy, which something that took 6 weeks was replaced by a single line of code. So there are huge advantages of being able to bring AI next to the data. A big challenge that our customers have is they want to make sure that their data is safe, secure, governed. Only people who have access to certain aspects of it can see, those aspects. And Snowflake is built on that foundation. So from our customers' perspective, by not having to move the data around, but instead bringing compute to where that massive amounts of data is a no-brainer.
Given that AI is going to be something that's, it's going to be omnipresent in our future. It's going to be something that every company, every person will have to use. So are you seeing companies now think about ensuring that the data is in a certain format, or how important is it for every company to start thinking about having a data policy?
Yeah, so let me take these. Those are two very important questions, and they are kind of slightly separate.
Yeah.
More and more, the format is, doesn't matter as much. The tooling around large language models is evolving and improving. And as long as we can turn everything into kind of text and images that these models can understand, these models work perfectly fine. That tooling is very important. That tooling is part of simplifying that whole process, which we are heavily working on, so that customers don't have to think about how do I convert my PDFs into text, but not lose kind of the structure of the table and so forth. So there are a lot of gnarly problems in there, but once you convert that into text, that problem is solved. The part that is more challenging is how do I govern that data? What I hear from especially large customers is, when they move, they set certain policies. A person's salary can only be seen by that person and HR, right? So how do you make sure that when you move that data somewhere else for processing, you still keep that policy? So you don't want to then manage this policy in multiple places, because then that's error prone. Yeah. That is why having a central data policy and then bringing AI to it is really important. We say, there is no AI strategy without a data strategy. Like, data is the core of how our customers are thinking about this. However, that should not sacrifice what you can do with AI, right? So that is why it's incredibly important to have an amazing AI platform that is that is working together with your data platform.
It might sound a bit philosophical, but I work in a company that's almost a century old. And if you use AI well with all the data that you have accumulated over the years, you are creating something like a collective intelligence of the company. From the time it's been conceived, and and that has so much potential, right? Because we always talk about people coming in, going out, and a lot of knowledge being lost with that. We all know about successful products becoming uh, becoming failures overnight because the person who used to run it has moved out. So is there something else happening here? Is there a huge potential that we haven't really explored till now?
100%. When you look at what's happening right now, these LLMs, AI systems have world knowledge and then really good world knowledge. However, every business needs business knowledge that is ingrained in these AIs for that business's specific use. That is why building enterprise-specific solutions is incredibly important. This starts with a system that has access to customers' data in a safe, secure, governed way. Then it requires search to be able to search, sift through all of that information. In some cases, it requires custom LLM solutions that understands the customer's data. So overall, basically, some enterprise AI differs from the consumer AI in that it is all based on enterprises' data and understanding of that data, and this data tends to be vast, which is a huge advantage for companies who've amassed large amounts of data over time because they can now kind of differentiate when everybody's using the same large language model. Like the way you differentiate is now with your data. So
Yeah.
that's why it's a huge advantage for companies that have that type of data. But it's important for those companies to be able to use systems that make the most out of that.
You also have the question of responsible AI. How do you look at that? How would you explain responsible AI, for instance, to a new customer you're onboarding?
So responsible AI has a couple of components. There is a trust and safety and governance component, and then there are additional guardrails that are by policy that customers want to put into. In terms of trust, safety, and security, it first starts with, is your data safe and secure? Is your data going to be leaked out or not to to another customer, for instance? That's a huge concern for many enterprises. How do you guarantee that my data is not used to train a model that my competitor might use, right? So there is that. And then there is the underlying data policies that I talked about. How do I make sure that somebody else cannot see the salary of this other person
Yeah.
other than this person and HR, right? So there's trust and safety components of this. How do you make sure that the data is, it can't be breached, it's safe, it's secure, it's encrypted, it's governed. Other than that trust, the next phase is, these AI systems are very open. So, people can ask all sorts of questions and then they can answer in all sorts of ways that are not predetermined. So how do you put guardrails around this so that the company policy can ensure there is no hate speech, there is no bias in the responses. So those are the two buckets that our customers pay close attention to. And at Snowflake, we address these two buckets directly with our products.
You have been working in this space for a while now, and even though you're saying it's early days, I'm sure you are seeing emerging trends which are maybe specific to a certain part of the world. Are you seeing those kind of trends emerge where even how people are using AI, even at the enterprise level, is it changing according to geography? Are the understandings, use cases different across the world, or is it one common way of using it?
I will actually talk to my experience at Google, working on Google Assistant specifically for the India market.
Yeah.
Um, that was a big part of our focus because there was so much pull, so much demand, and so much engagement in India when it comes to interacting with information through voice. So this would be kind of searching, it would be asking questions, and that was definitely on its own at a different level compared to kind of the rest of the world. So this openness to especially natural language interfaces, I think, has its differences definitely across the world, and certain in certain areas that's a lot more accessible and expected versus others. And I would say India is at the forefront of that.
And before we wind up, if I can ask you, at Snowflake, what do you think is your biggest opportunity?
I believe AI will transform everything in the next decade, all businesses. And I believe Snowflake is one of the most important companies at the forefront of that transformation. Because as I said, there is no AI strategy without a data strategy, that everything revolves around data. And Snowflake is a premier provider of that data platform. And now we're creating an AI platform that is just right next to it. So I expect tremendous opportunities for everyone. And then I expect Snowflake to be one of the premier players in the space.
So, Barish, thanks for being on the show. It was amazing listening to you. And I'm sure our listeners, again, are thinking differently. The idea of this show is that people get new ideas. Okay, I haven't thought of that. Let me try something here. And I'm sure in that space, you have done wonderfully well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So, I'll be back again next week with another guest, lot more insight. Till then, the podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast.